Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's meeting for the Math and Science Academy Board of Directors. Today is Tuesday, February 25th, 2025. Call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. Will the student reps read the vision, mission, and land acknowledgement, please?
Our vision is to be an innovative, sustainable model of academic excellence for all students that creates well-rounded, lifelong learners and global citizens. And our mission is that we provide accelerated and inclusive curricula and instruction in all subjects with an emphasis on math and science.
Land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is the land of the Achedi Shakowi, the people of the Seven Council Fires, and the Wapekute Band. It is within MSA's responsibility as an academic institution to disseminate knowledge about Indigenous peoples and our history with this land. MSA works to build relationships with Native American students and families through academic pursuits and historical recognition.
Roll call of members: Wendell Sutton here, Isaac Leonardi
Here.
Sarah Harms
Here.
Tamara Brooks
Here.
Jules Kinkle
Here.
Brian Linsmeyer
Here.
Kari Kerner
Here.
Dan Ellingson
Here.
and Mary Yap, who is absent. I did not receive any open forum, so we will skip over open forum. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion? Second call for discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. Is there any conflicts of interest in tonight's meeting? Hearing none, we'll move forward. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll motion to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
I second.
Discussion?
One thing that needs to be fixed is on page 6, F, Governance Committee. No questions were voiced. If questions arise, please send them to Member Kinkle before the February governance meeting. I did not say governance, I just said February meeting, because there was no February governance meeting. So,
So take out governance.
please do.
Any other comments? Thank you for getting those in early. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. Tonight we have two recognitions that we'd like to do. One was from last month's meeting. Go ahead, Dr. Hinton.
Yep, so we want to recognize one of our board members, Tamara Brooks, who was recognized as a finalist for Woodbury Educator of the Year. And so we want to congratulate her excellence in teaching. And then we have another, we have a student, and I will let Mr. Slutton explain the whole thing, but Mr. Will Coulter made the All-State Band.
Participated in, I should say.
Oh, participated.
Participated in
Okay.
the All-State Band 2 weeks ago. They had a camp held over the summer, and then Valentine's weekend was the Minnesota Music Educators Association conference where they did their final rehearsals and then got to perform at Orchestra Hall. And it's thousands of students audition, very few get in. It's a very rigorous audition. But he and 4 other students auditioned this year, so we will hear if they make it in April. So Will is here to be recognized.
Oh,
That's a microphone.
Congratulations.
And we'll take
Okay,
a
so like,
question.
Tammy, come around and
Sure.
Tammy, you want to come around?
Now I go through. Okay, great. I move the microphone.
Um,
Can we angle this way just a little bit?
This way, yeah.
John, move the chair over there.
Just watch out. Forward.
You go in that chair.
Yeah, scoot that one. Musical chairs.
Student first. Congratulations.
Excellent, thank you.
Is there a next step, Tammy, for you?
No, I was a finalist.
Okay.
I had to go to the dinner. It was nice, it was good.
Next on our agenda is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I can second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. Board and Administrators report. We'll start with our students.
So the first thing I want to talk about is student events. MSA's International Club is announcing their annual multicultural night this year on April 24th. They've described it as an evening of cultural exchange and celebration. And obviously it's in April, so a little ways away, and there's more information to come. But in previous years, there have been cultural dance performances, cultural food, and even a fashion show where students can showcase their traditional clothing. Obviously, students at MSA come from a variety of different ethnic groups and cultures, so it's a great opportunity to learn more about them and celebrate the diversity at our school, and I would encourage everyone on the board to attend for free. And then next is student activities. Recently, Ms. Gravine, the high school counselor at MSA, sent out an opportunity for rising seniors, or the class of 2026, to enroll in Woodbury's Youth Engagement Leadership Academy. And it's a 5-week summer program where students living or attending high school in Woodbury learn about leadership, development, community engagement skills, and acquire the skills necessary to succeed in a business or entrepreneurial environment. Students who complete this program are eligible to earn a scholarship, and in past years there have been a handful of MSA students who have participated in this program, one of which was my brother, and he actually was awarded a scholarship, so it was a good result. And then next, I wanted to talk about student recognition. Senior Rigo Tessero was selected as a candidate for the U.S. Presidential Scholars Program. And if you don't know, the Presidential Scholars Program is a program that recognizes the most distinguished graduating seniors in the country based on their academic achievements, artistic scholarship, leadership, and community involvement. There are 4,000 initial candidates who can then apply to be recognized, and then after an evaluation period, the commission will select up to 161 students to be presidential scholars. I'm not sure if Rigo is continuing with the application process, but if he is, obviously good luck to him. And I looked through the previous candidates list, and in the past 10 years, MSA has had, I think, 5 other students achieve this, so yeah, it's an incredible achievement for them. And then lastly, I wanted to talk about FTC robotics. MSA's FTC robotics team, Cyber Machina, won the Galaxy division at the FTC State Championship and advanced to the state final, where they won 2nd place in the design award category. So congrats to them. And then Abby has more she'd like to.
The first thing I want to talk about is the advisory presentations that BSU has been doing every day of February, because February is Black History Month. And as much as we want everyone to join Black Student Union and learn more about Black history, that's just not going to happen. So that's our way of reaching every student at MSA and just teaching them about Black history and specific stuff like Black hairstyles, Black music, Black culture. And my favorite part about this is I got 5 middle schoolers that are in BSU, and they each made their own presentations. So how we do it is I cycle through each 5 and I present with them. So they're getting those early like public speaking and just presentation skills at that young age. So that's honestly my favorite part about doing those presentations, and they've all been doing such a great job as we're wrapping up our presentations. So I thought that was a really cool thing. I also want to talk about today, me and Ms. Brooks were at the Capitol with BSU for Youth Day at the Capitol, yeah, all day. And I had to actually get here earlier because I had a club before that. But we started our day at 8, and then we took a bus to the Capitol, or to the History Museum, and then completed breakout rooms. We learned how to advocate for ourselves through legislation, movements, policy, and how to talk to our elected officials. Then we just walked around the museum, we took pictures, and then around noon, we walked across the bridge to the Capitol. And then we had lunch, it was great. And then we got to talk to Senator Nicole Mitchell about because she represents Woodbury, if you didn't know. And we got to talk to her about some issues that we felt were important to us. And then she shared why she was motivated to be in the position she was today and like what she's currently doing as a senator and just what she's doing, especially for Woodbury. She shared that two of her sisters actually graduated from MSA, but when she was in high school, MSA wasn't a thing, so she just went to Woodbury. So I thought that was a pretty cool fact because she's pretty local. And then we just walked around the Capitol after that, and then we came back. So it was just a really cool experience, and it was really beneficial to be able to talk to those representatives and senators. And my last thing is our HOSA chapter. So that's just basically an international organization for students who are interested in a health profession. And our HOSA chapter was ranked or tied for first place out of all the chapters in Minnesota for this month, which is really big because there's like over 50 chapters or schools in Minnesota that do HOSA. And we just started this year, so we're a new HOSA chapter and we were able to rank first place. So I just thought that was a really great achievement that our new club was able to achieve. So yeah, that's the
Excellent, thank you.
Any questions or comments from the board?
Mr. Brooks was also
No awards.
It was fun. We always enjoy the day. Yeah, kids and the kids.
And we get to go next week, so
Yes.
that'll be fun. Thank you for sharing. Board report. So the board had their second retreat of the year, where we revisited a lot of the strategies and stuff that we're learning to better strengthen our governance, and what is self-interest over board interest, or school interest, I should say, is a big topic there, and working through the experience cubes and understanding where everybody comes from when they come together at a table and their different backgrounds and stuff like that. So it was a good experience, even though there was a few hiccups, but it was a good representation of what we can do as a board when there is conflict. So. Dr. Hinton.
Okay, so I've got a couple things that I want to talk about tonight. One is just to kind of, we're reaching the end of this strategic plan, and I know the board talked about extending it, but I thought it would be a good chance to just kind of go back through what we've accomplished in the last 3 years and the work that's still to be done and some of the things that we've been working on. You're never really going to finish, but you know, we've made some progress. So, and then I'll talk a little bit about expansion and what's going on with that. So our strategic priority number 1 was success for all students. And so in the area of work completed, we have built a multi-tiered system of support in MTSS. Some of our highlights include implementing reading support with using the science of reading, which a lot of you I'm sure have heard some about. We identified a need in middle school math, and so we've added a math intervention class. We've got a number of teachers who are PLC trained. We've got a bunch more going this summer. And then we're also doing a little bit of work around Marzano's proficiency standards, so we're continuing that work. This year, though, their training is far away. It's well out of state, so we're not going to be able to send a big team for that. We've established an equity team and changed our focus to all students are general education students first. So we are looking at students who might have a disability as first gen ed students, and then offering them support or providing them support through an IEP or whatever other needs they get. Some have 504, some just need different things, and they're still in the gen ed. We've expanded our conferences, so now we have conferences twice a year. I don't have the data on the last conference round, but I feel like we're making some progress. Not every conference happened on the exact moment of when conferences were, but we've been tracking and with a goal of making sure that we have contact with every parent in a parent conference type of way. Then we now have regular job-embedded professional learning communities and student success teams, so that's really helped us with our MTSS work. We have an annual literacy plan that we work on, and we have learning targets aligned to the standards for every required course. And then the work that's continuing in that, because you're always going to have work continuing, we're continuing targeted DEI training. The staff's had extensive training over the last 3 years. The board you adopted an equity action plan following the equity audit, so we're going to continue to work on that. We've done a lot of work with making sure that students with disabilities, that their rights are respected and taken care of. So we've been embracing the ethical and legal requirements around working with students with disabilities, including students with 504s and IEPs. And then, the continuing work is still going to be in MTSS. We're working on proficiency scales, closing achievement gaps, individual intervention plans, and the like. The work that we have on pause, so it was in our strategic plan, we're not currently doing anything with, which is the study of our math progression, looking at if that makes sense. Right now, with the implementation of MTSS and the PLC work, our math progression's been much more accessible, so there hasn't been that feeling that basically the calculus requirement is preventing kids from graduating. So we may still look at that, but right now it's not as pressing as it was at the time of the strategic plan. Our strategic priority number 2 was organizational support of our MSA mission and vision, and we're completed. Kudos to everyone here. The board governance work, we've done a lot with rewriting and reviewing all policies, and completing a policy review cycle. We rewrote the bylaws and we're going to update them again tonight. We have a board handbook, we've done an equity audit, we've had a lot of self and external board reviews, and reestablishment of a communication protocol. And then we've had reduced staff turnover and increased staff satisfaction. We've worked on our website and our branding. That work is not 100% done, but we've made some progress on that. And we updated the staff evaluation so it's more robust and hopefully clearer. The continuing work, we're continuing to work on increasing our diversity in our licensed staff to better match our student population. And we will continue to work on board governance so that we don't have any slippage there. Strategic priority 3 was facilities and infrastructure. So the work that's been completed, we updated the master schedule that allows for job-embedded student support, so PLCs and student success teams. And it also allows for more assistance in the classroom so students can have more help because the class period's a little longer. They have a little more time with their teacher at any time. We implemented a SEL, social emotional learning curriculum. We have daily advisory so students can get academic support and community building and their SEL lessons. And trying to work on extending our SEL work into all classes. The work that's still ongoing is their expansion, and I'll talk about that in a couple minutes, and then our elementary development and sizing the supports for expansion. So making sure that as we grow, our support system grows at an equal rate. So that's kind of on the strategic plan update. I'll take a little pause if anybody wants to talk about anything that I said before we start on expansion.
So as we've talked about in previous meetings, we as a board will need to decide, do we extend our current strategic plan, or do we want to restart and start new? So that's still to come in our work sessions throughout the rest of the year. But I wanted to get that out of the way before we open the table for questions.
As the new board member is commenting, that's very, I think it's highly impressive. It's very impressive. It's well done. Over 3 years, it seems really good, so.
I'm thrilled with the staff that we have
Yeah.
and our board as well, but the staff has been really eager to learn. That's a big move in not a long time, especially in education. A lot of that stuff takes a very long time. So kudos really to the board
Yeah.
for being, the board for doing the governance work and the teachers for getting
It's a lot of.
really moving that ball along and embracing that work, because there's really very little resistance. So that's the only way that work can be done.
I also think with our recent MCA data that we've seen, a lot of this is really showing effective. And I think that's something we need to highlight and be proud of.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right.
Great, so expansion, you've all got several emails about expansion. So I apologize, they were still working on some of those contracts, tightening them up. So there's a few housekeeping things that are on our agenda today. As we're going through this process, the attorneys are going through all of our stuff to make sure that everything is buttoned up in tip-top shape. In doing that, there is one portion of the school bylaws that will need to be updated. And basically, I know you saw the red line, it was about 7 words, and I actually asked Craig Kepler, who's representing us in the bonding, what does this mean? Because it's just kind of legal terms. And he said that individual board members can be held personally liable for any damages that are sustained by MSA for if you do not disclose a conflict of interest. So like, for example, if we were to enter a contract that we were legally bound by, but your spouse owns the company and you did not disclose that, and then we get into this contract and then it comes about and we have to terminate the contract, there may be costs associated with terminating the contract, which then become your responsibility. Now, if you disclose the conflict and don't vote on it, then there's not a problem. So that's just the one piece that our insurance will not cover you if something like that happens. I think this board's been really good about that, but I just wanted everybody to understand what that meant. And it's required by state statute. So, and whether it's in the bylaws or not, it's still in effect, so it's best that we put it in there so that nobody gets tripped up. And then the bylaws for the building company are, Craig Kepler, I think he said he wrote them when we built Building B for us, and we haven't updated them since. Now the laws have changed quite a bit, and so we have to update the bylaws for the building company. Also, the building company has to consist of at least 3 members, and none of them can be on this board or have anything to do with actually paying the lease payments or the bond payments, which are really the lease payments. So we've had to switch up who is on the board, so you'll consider that. But we have 2 people, Denise Spies and Joelle Punsek, who are able to continue on the building company board, and Ms. Richards has volunteered to step up to finish out the term till July. So that's kind of what's going on with that. So does anybody have any questions kind of about what's going on with bylaws and why that's getting changed at this point? Okay. And then bonding has been the big thing right now. We had the opportunity to meet with S&P Global. Dan was kind enough to join us, and what that allowed us to have was a private rating meeting. So we meet and we go over our project, and then they give us feedback on how to get the best bond rating. So that's part of why we kept changing around those numbers, and it kept changing up until today. Trying to structure the deal in a way that gets us the best bond rating possible. They're excited about our bonds coming to market, but it's still $55 million, which is a lot of money. In perspective, we currently are carrying $8 million in bonds, so it's a big jump. Nobody seems to be particularly worried. I'm not worried about being able to do what we need to do to make those payments, but they want to make sure everything is all our ducks are in the best row possible. So we've been working on that. Tomorrow night, we have two things on the Woodbury City Council agenda. One is the plat, and the plat is like the drawing of the land. So that's on the consent agenda, so that'll go through pretty quickly. And then, because we are selling municipal bonds, we have to have a municipality has to basically sponsor them. So we use their bonding ability to sell our bonds. The city of Woodbury, if we default on our bonds, doesn't pay, right? But we are using their municipal function to be able to sell the bonds. So to do that, there has to be a hearing. They're not anticipating, there's been no public comment because of the wide support that we've had, unanimous support for all of the other things. We're not anticipating any trouble with the city council. So tomorrow night, that will be considered and hopefully passed. So Dan will represent us there along with our whole bonding team will be there and the construction team. It's only a 35-minute meeting, so they are not expecting it to go real long, but you never know. And then right now, we've been working on the offering statement and the bond marketing, and there's something called a road show that I'm learning about, and it has nothing to do with antiques. It's where they make some kind of recording, and so anyway, that'll get done next week and published. And the bond closing right now is currently scheduled for March 25th, and then shortly after that, we should be able to close on our property. And a couple weeks after that, they'll be able to start digging. So in the meantime, it's architect drawing number 1, bid pack 1 is gone out. They're gonna start building they pour the walls and then they'll bring them in and tip them up and turn them into a building. So that will happen really quickly. It'll be very exciting. It will not be the building being done. Right, it'll look more done than it is for some time, but it's very exciting to see that. Just as another little side note, we do have an address. They have assigned us an address. It's 9025 Bailey Road. So you can't mail anything. There's no mailbox. There's an address. And then tonight on the agenda is the construction contract. That's got a total of $34 million. There are 2 different contracts. One is for labor and one is for materials, and that is done for tax purposes, is what I've been told. I think one is about 15 million and one's about 18 million. Together it's 34 million, but we approve them separately. And they are working on the list of alternates. There's certain things that are part of the project that are part of the base price, and then there are alternates. So after we get a little bit further along, we'll be able to start to go through and look at the alternates. One of the things that KU is still trying to work on, and there's no promise, no guarantee yet, but we're really hoping to be able to get turf on our field because that's something that we can't put in later. Apparently I've learned more about turf than I ever thought I would know, but turf has to sit on some kind of base, and that in order to put it in, because I was like, can't we just roll out the turf later? And that's not how it works. You would have to tear up the track in order to put down the turf. So if we're gonna have turf, it really has to go in the beginning. So, but we don't know yet, so we're still trying to figure out how to get that taken care of, and yeah, it's going along really, really fast. So, so it seems fast now. It seems really slow getting to this fast part, but anyway, that's kind of where we are. Does anybody have any questions about what's going on with expansion?
I'd like to say thank you both to Dr. Hinton and for Dan for the work you've done. It's really starting to feel real, and it's
Yes.
exciting. I told Kate when she told me about the address, I was like, too bad it couldn't be 99-25, like 99 being the year we opened and the
Oh.
25th
That'd be
being
so
the year that we're
cool.
really pushing. It would be really cool, but.
They didn't ask my opinion. I have opinions, but that's not a
Yeah.
bad address.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask too, have we heard anything with the whole political climate and increase in costs and whatnot and where we're at?
So they're aware of it right now. Right now, they're estimating a 1 to 2% thing on percent potential increase on steel. I talked with Ashley, who's a representative from JB Vang this morning, about that, and I said, when do we get to put the order in?
Yeah.
Like, the sooner we get to put the order in. We're a little bit away from that, but they're not currently too scared about it. But we'll have to continue to watch things. I mean, every day is an exciting day these days, so, I don't know. Currently, it's about a 1 to 2% increase on steel, which is significant, but it's not, it's all within the margins right now.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, so it's not just Kate and I, right? I mean, the team is
Yes.
amazing. Even for the S&P meeting, I kind of imagine that it's just, you're meeting so many folks that it takes to get this job done, right?
Mhm.
It's actually quite impressive that we're all working together so well. So I do think it's great that we've got the support here, the board, the community, and everyone just really wants to see it come to fruition, so
Yeah.
that's great. I did have a question. Can we schedule in any groundbreaking?
Yeah, so
April, May, I don't know.
As soon as we get an idea, I think
Yeah.
it would be great to
I think
have
it would be
something over
nice.
there, you know,
Yeah.
where we
Do
can
something
all,
simple.
yeah.
And then a grand opening, of course, but
Yeah, that'll be-
groundbreaking and
Some
grand opening
photos
is
and-
kind of nice
yeah.
visual things.
Yeah, so as soon as we get a date, I would love to be able to, and at that point, people should be able to come, because it won't be necessarily a construction site yet,
Yeah, great.
you know,
It's
so
kind of
it's
nice
not.
to bring the politicians.
Yeah.
Yeah, to
along,
get
and
some
they'd
more-
like to be in a photo or what have you, so.
Yeah, so
Curate a
no, I
guest
think it would
list.
be great.
What's that?
Curate a guest list.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it would be awesome.
Put something together.
Um,
It's coming, I don't want to jinx it, but it's coming together now.
Yeah, so now we're kind of, the train is really moving
Yeah.
pretty
Yep.
fast, so.
Yep.
It's exciting, I mean, it'll be just a few weeks and then it'll be
Yeah.
done. Then
Closing
we're like,
time.
okay, so we got through this, we did the final due diligence meeting today,
Perfect.
There's no
and,
going back after that.
No.
$50 million in bonds.
yeah, so, it's coming together and there's a lot of people who are excited to buy the bonds, so.
Good, good.
All
Any
right.
other questions?
I just wanna make sure I understand the alternates, so there's some things we need for sure, but other things the team just kinda decides as it goes along.
So there is like a base contract, like, you know, if you were gonna build a house, like it comes with this level of builder grade kitchen cabinets or
Yeah.
whatever. And then there are other things that we can add on, and they're not promised to us yet or anything. Some of the things are things that we want, and we will add on. So what we'll do is we'll take a look, I'll probably take this back. Ashley was gonna give me a whole list and the pricing and just kind of take it back to the expansion committee and have them start to rank it, talk with admin, and then bring those recommendations back to the board. We won't be in a position right now to be deciding most of it, just because we don't know how much money there is. But I think it would be good early on to kind of establish, yeah. Cause when it comes down to it, I'm thinking that things will come quickly, you know. Do you want this or do you want that?
Yeah.
Well, I would like to have some input before I just answer based on what I want, you know. If I'm not teaching all the classes, I'm not doing all the things, so it's important to get everybody else's feedback as well.
So Kate, that being said, have you thought about getting a teacher hit list of what they would like or not like?
So they've kind of been through that to a
Okay.
certain extent. The thing that I think will be the most, The choices of furniture, I think that a lot of people have a lot of opinions about.
Okay.
We're gonna try to be pretty consistent in our furniture, just so that there's, you know, it can be interchangeable and move around. But, you know, we'll have some of that. Each classroom gets 8 feet of cabinets and a tall cabinet and that kind of thing. So that the classrooms are pretty set. You'll get to choose, the teachers will get to choose between, like, do they want bulletin board or whiteboard? Obviously, we'll still have the technology in there. But there's a few things that they'll get to pick between, and that'll be individualized, but we wanna be able to have, you know, if this is my classroom right now, who knows if, you know, even if you're still here, you might get moved to another room. So the classrooms need to be pretty standard so that people can move from room to room.
Standard but flexible.
But,
Standard but flexible.
right, so I mean, that having a little bit of that standardized feel will allow for that flexibility too. So I'm anticipating, I mean, I don't know, maybe the teachers will all like the same furniture. Having worked with teachers for a lot of years, the opinions are often quite variable.
Yeah.
I'd like to be
Experience
Yeah.
pretty consistent on the furniture.
Thank you.
Any more questions or comments for Dr. Hinton or Dan? All right, hearing none, we'll go on to action items. Remember, during discussion, please raise your hand if you'd like to speak. Is there a motion to pass the bylaws, or motion for the bylaws update? Again, remember, this is a legislative update.
I motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion outside of what was already had?
Legislative, straightforward.
Second call. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes.
So officers, you'll have to sign them, so
Yeah.
everybody's
Let's-
gonna have
Let's take a moment to
signing.
do that right now.
Okay. you
Yeah,
have-
Caitlin, you have them? Yep, I have a blue blacking. When do you start with? $25.
I got it. Pretty picky.
There's black ink.
You can process it.
Caitlin, we need another one. You signed on Sarah's.
We did.
Oh.
Thanks,
Yours
Brian.
is
Oh,
supposed to go
no.
up there.
This kid party.
We brought an extra just in case.
You were in
Yeah,
the
I wasn't.
Remember, your type name goes under your signature.
Never that professional.
There's no dotted line, I'll give you that.
Here, sign here.
Right there. Thank you. All right. Ratification of membership of the building company, actually item 11B. Is there a motion to approve the building company membership?
I will move to approve the building company membership.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion? Second call. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? abstain, motion passes. Item 11C, building company bylaws update. Is there a motion to pass the building company bylaws?
I move to pass the bylaws of MSA Building Company.
Is there a second?
I will second that motion.
Discussion? Will you extend our gratitude to Craig Krepler for catching that for us?
Please, yeah.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll keep on it a little more next time we go out to bond.
Yep. Second call. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. Item 11D, construction contract. Do we need to do this separately, or?
Okay, that, what they're signing right now is the authorizing resolution,
Oh, sorry.
so
Oh, it's
just hold it,
okay.
it's okay, just, you just leave it there.
So which one now? For the building company, we
Yeah.
don't sign
Yes.
anything, the
That
building
would
company
be-
members sign that.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yep.
we need a motion to pass this?
Yeah, we just wanna,
11D,
Oh, for the contracts, each
construction
separately or?
contract.
which one are we? I'm
11D, construction contract.
Oh, construction contracts, yes, I'm sorry, you can pass them together if you
I
want.
can make a motion to pass them both.
Okay.
Sorry, I got lost.
I just wanted to verify we didn't need to do that separately or not. So, is there a second? Okay. Any discussion?
The only thing that I saw, and it's just a nit, and I'm not saying we need to change it, but if they are delayed, I saw $3,000 a day for so many days, and then you get to $5,000 a day. So I'm glad that there's something in there, but 3,000 seems to be kind of a pittance for $50 million contract.
Yeah, because I asked about that, and that has something to do with how they go after the subcontractors. I think the subcontractors end up paying them.
Them back,
Okay.
if they're delayed, okay. I'm glad that there's something in there, because that's kind of an
Yeah.
incentive, but it didn't seem like a
Yeah,
very
because I'm
big
kind of
number.
like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
3,000 isn't that much,
I
but
mean, it's money, but
it's
the millions
not
is
gonna,
nothing. Yeah.
it's not gonna take care of any,
So-
the funding we would lose.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes unanimously. 11E, expansion bonding resolution. Is there a motion to pass the, is there a motion for the bonding resolution? Is there a second?
You can take it.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
Can I just note that the reason why that changed a couple times this week
Was because they were just
doing bond runs and they were attempting to get it right at the right number. So that's why the changes, that was the only thing that was changing in there.
Did we end up getting our rating?
We don't have that yet. But we should have it, I think it's gonna come the end of the week.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes.
Now you
And
can
that's
sign
the
it.
signing.
Okay.
Signed by your name.
These little lines and
There
boxes.
there are lines this time.
It's contained.
Oh, fair point, you screwed up.
Oh, I was like ahead of ourselves.
So fancy. Dan, there's a question about your statement.
Which one?
Well, that's mostly Kate's answer.
Oh.
The $3,000 per day, but she said it's kind of for the contractors.
The subcontractors.
Subcontractors.
Yeah, so that's how they.
It was like section 4.5 or something like that.
Yeah, so it's, 3,000 a day for the first 5 days.
And then 5,000 a day.
5,000 every day after that.
And they had a phase 1 complete date and then a final complete date.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Okay, you got that? Okay. Item 11F, approval of the 2025-26 lottery. Is there a motion to approve the lottery?
I'll motion to approve the lottery.
Is there a second?
I will second that motion.
Discussion. Kari, did you participate in that?
I was there. It was a very smooth process. Really, it's slick, very impressive. And thank you to Caitlin for taking over a new role for that, and Justin for running the show. He's had it down.
Yeah,
It's great.
I think most of the parents that were there, their child got in, which was
Yes,
nice, because
yes.
sometimes
Wow.
it's very
It's
sad
It's
when
hard,
they
right,
don't
yes.
get in. Or they're so far down the wait list.
Can I ask, how did the sibling one turn out? There were some siblings that we didn't have enough spaces. Were they-
Yeah, so that we didn't, not all the siblings are in yet. But the sibling wait list, depending on the year, the grade, are not super long. I think many of the siblings will get in.
There was one grade level over there, just weren't many spots.
Yeah, so some of,
Seven,
yeah, and
Seventh grade, yeah.
part of it was we're really holding to that number. A lot of times we will run it up and then let it fall back. We're trying to keep it at the number, because we can't take the risk of running it up and then not having it fall back.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. 2025-2026 school calendar. Is there a motion to approve the school calendar?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I can second.
Dr. Hinton, do you want to highlight some of the?
So there's a couple things in this calendar. One of them is the workday in May on the 22nd. We try to give a couple more workdays towards the end for packing. So we kind of thought that workday, typically we don't have this many workdays, especially 3 in the last 3.5 weeks of school. But we are going to need to be out of this building pretty quickly after the end of the school year. So we're gonna need to have some time where staff is here. We thought about adding another day in June, but then sometimes people can get overwhelmed thinking it's not gonna take that long to pack, and then get started and realize that there's a lot more things, and we don't have extra time. So that was one thing that's a little bit different. We discussed, we've been playing around with February conferences. We pretty much kept it the same as it is this year, just because there isn't really a perfect way, but we're still kind of debating. The high school conferences are not as well attended. The middle school conferences are very well attended. The high school it's a little different. So we're still trying to work through how we can continue to improve that. But otherwise, it's mostly similar to what we have. We have the PSAT day on October 15th, which is when we will only have those high school students in that are taking the PSAT. Everybody else will have a digital day. That worked out really well this year. There is busing that day. And we have a similar number of digital days. That's something the admin team is thinking a little bit about in terms of, are we getting as much out of those days as we should? But at this time, we have not recommended changing them.
Just the copy that we have in the agenda There is an added C on February 12th.
Oh, yeah, that's not a conference day, I'll have that removed.
Okay. Just
Okay, so
bring
that's
that to
The
your attention.
addition, yeah.
Dan?
Yeah, I have a question. Would it make sense to put some note in January or something just on the possibility of phase one completion, construction?
They are saying phase one is likely gonna be closer to, March. Right now.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, I think we can go back and make some changes if we need to, because it's so hard to know what
Yeah.
what
I hadn't
time,
heard
what
It
you
might-
would do.
It might be best to keep those dates just on the expansion side of the website instead of the school calendar, I
Yeah.
think. Just keeping it separate, because as it's so fluid, we don't know when it's gonna be, so we're trying to keep it off of this.
But we
Yeah.
are cognizant of what's going on, you know, when could we potentially move? And so we debated a lot in terms of what we would do, and then we decided that we would amend the calendar when and if there's gonna be a change mid-year. So, yeah, it was hard, because I wish if we knew a date,
Yeah.
we could make some
Yeah.
more educated decisions on that.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. Item 11H, approval of the election plan. Is there a motion to pass the election plan?
I move to pass the election plan.
Is there a second? I can second. You were on that committee, weren't you? Is there some highlights you wanna?
No,
What?
actually, I don't think I was.
No, your survey.
Survey committee.
Yeah, that's right.
Sarah?
Sarah,
Yeah.
It's been a long day, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so we kind of talked about, what dates we're gonna want to have open for the election, kind of went around schedules and compared to last year. And I think we kind of had the same time openings, for election. I think the ballot openings was a little bit longer, right? I think we extended that a little bit, to account for maybe the, whatever, the candidate statements and like, yeah, like
Yeah.
the questionings that we could have. Yeah.
And then new this year is the candidate forum.
Yes, yep,
That's May 1st.
yeah.
First, I think
So-
that's a great option to get.
Yeah, definitely televise or videotape that and allow it to be on our website somewhere so people can get an idea of who they're voting for and put a face to name.
And they'd all have the same questions and the same.
Yeah, probably
opportunity.
similar questions to what they answer on the original form, but yeah, maybe you could ask a few more if people want to attend that.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. Future board items, the election, that the action plan has been put in place. The board survey will have the results ready for the workshop, but we probably won't be able to discuss them fully, but that's coming. Is there anything else we're missing for future items? Yeah.
Just a note that the finance meeting for January was scheduled on the day that got called off
Yep.
for cold weather. And the quick update from Dustin was no major updates, and the quick balance sheets are slight increases from last report, and they're in the board folder if anyone needs it before then, but then we'll approve it all in, we'll approve January and February in the March meeting.
Perfect. Day at the Capitol, March 5th.
Yeah.
I said almost 4th, but I said that's my concert, but it's March 5th. Looking forward to meeting with the reps again. It's a great opportunity and it's so much fun. All right, well, if there's anything you can think of, send it my way. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I second.
At 6:55, all in favor? Aye, thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman.